Around the country, state capitals on high alert as they brace for possible armed protests in the coming days. We're looking at this from all angles and have reporters and correspondents standing by in all the key locations. Let's start with CNN's Matt Rivers in Austin, Texas. Matt, what are the preparations underway there?
Yeah, John, very much in wait-and-see mode right now here in Austin, Texas, with the Department of Public Safety closing the Capitol grounds and the Capitol building just behind me. It'll be closed starting today all the way through the inauguration of Joe Biden, with Texas DPS releasing a statement that said in part that they're aware of protests planned here at the Capitol and, quote, violent extremists who may seek to exploit constitutionally protected events to conduct criminal acts. Now, CNN obtained a memo that was sent to state lawmakers here in Austin and their staffs laying out what could happen this weekend. In that memo, DPS says they're tracking at least 3 potential events for this weekend. One today, an event starting at noon, according to DPS, and 2 more potential events for tomorrow. We don't yet know how big those events might be, how many people will show up. Things are quiet right now, but DPS is definitely prepared. I want to show you. So they've padlocked here the gate to the Capitol, and if we look through the fence there, you can see that there are DPS officers. Now, you can't really see, but there are dozens of officers scattered around these grounds. The grounds are quite big. They're not in full riot gear, but they do have face shields on. We know that DPS has deployed dozens of extra officers at this point to be prepared for any potential threats that might show up this weekend. John.
I gotta say, Matt Rivers, they're not kidding around. That's some pretty remarkable imagery behind you. Thank you so much for being there for us. CNN's Natasha Chen is in Atlanta. Natasha, just how tight is security there?
Well, John, if you take a look around the Capitol area, you've got these low barriers here. It's not too difficult to imagine someone pushing through this if they really wanted to, but then we're also seeing armored vehicles and a strong law enforcement presence here. We know that local, state, and federal authorities are working together. The governor, Brian Kemp, has said earlier in the week that the threat level here is relatively low, but that they're not taking any chances. He's also made it very clear that the activities seen during the insurrection on January 6th, he called them illegal, un-American activities. That's not welcome here in Georgia. This is very rattling for a lot of the Republican leadership in this state, many of them really taking a look at the need for this extra security to ward off threats from people potentially in their own party. Here's Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan talking about that.
There is an increased security presence at the Capitol, a very significant increased presence. We started our General Assembly session on Monday. And, here I was getting out of the vehicle on Monday with armed SWAT members with full body armor. Looking out my office window yesterday, it dawned on me that the gentleman standing there in the rain was there not because of a terrorist, but because of potentially a Republican could want to attack our Capitol or myself. That's pretty, I can't fathom that.
And Duncan has also acknowledged that President Trump's words, he says, has made Georgia less safe. Keep in mind, the president called Georgia election officials after the November election, asking them to find votes for him. And after being reliably Republican for many decades, this state elected Joe Biden in November and has now sent 2 Democrats to the Senate after the runoff. So there's a lot of tension here. Now, while there isn't a known specific threat here, nobody's taking any chances. The governor again welcoming peaceful protests only, John.
Have to say, those words from the Lieutenant Governor, just chilling. And this is America. Natasha Chen, thank you so much for that report. So let's go to CNN's Sarah Seidner now in Lansing, Michigan. And Sarah, talk about a different animal completely. Lansing in Michigan has had to live through the threats to the Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, has had to live through various riots on its Capitol grounds. What are you seeing there today?
It is very quiet today, but I'll give you an example. I'm going to give you just kind of a 360 look at what the grounds look like, because there's a lot of room and space for people to come out and express their opinions. What there is not room for, what the governor and the leaders here, and even the citizens who live here in Lansing do not want to see, is any kind of violence. They have already made plans to try and thwart that, at least to keep their legislators safe as well. You'll see that this is really more of a visual deterrent than it is a physical deterrent. Yes, it's a fence, but it's pretty flimsy. However, they have already decided, the legislators, because of a credible threat that the police have gotten on this Capitol, that they will not be here doing the work of the people Monday through Thursday, that they are going to stay in their safe spaces, whether it is home or somewhere else, because there has been a credible threat recently to the Capitol since January 6th and what unfolded, the insurrection that unfolded in D.C. We should also mention the alleged kidnapping plot against the governor that you mentioned a bit earlier. That was almost a roadmap to what we saw happen in D.C. And so they are going to clamp down here. The National Guard has been called up. They have accepted the call of duty. There will be security. This place will be shut down to try and make sure that no violence occurs. Dan.
Sarah Seidner, dogged reporter, as always, thank you very much. Our thanks to Matt and Natasha as well. All of you, please stay safe. Possibly better than anywhere else, officials in Lansing, Michigan understand the threat, as Sarah just mentioned, given what they've seen. We're joined now by the mayor of Lansing, Andy Shore. Mr. Mayor, you've already seen so much firsthand. Those men with long guns pushing their way into the Capitol, the failed plot to kidnap your governor. What are you being warned about at this point? Is there anything specific you can tell us?
Well, we're hearing all kinds of rumors, and we're getting intel. Our Lansing police is coordinating. The National Guard, which the governor called up at my request. So we're hoping for the best. We're hoping for a peaceful protest. We believe in First Amendment rights, but we're preparing for the worst. So our coordination, the fencing that Sarah just mentioned, some board ups in buildings, warning folks to stay away from the Capitol, all of that is precautionary.
Michigan has this history of having a number of these armed militant groups. So what chatter are you hearing from them?
We do have that history. We're a pro-Second Amendment state. We have this every year, these armed groups at the Capitol. This year's a little different because we're concerned about what happened in D.C. And, there's chatter on both sides. There's chatter that people should come and create mischief, and there's chatter that some in the militia and others are being told to stay away because someone may infiltrate the group and cause violence. So we're hearing chatter on both sides. We're preparing for the violence just in case.
Capitol being fenced off. We just saw pictures, boarded, security tightened. What about elsewhere in your city? Any added security for you or for government buildings?
Yeah, in downtown we are. When we saw the Capitol kind of getting wrapped in fencing, we did some security measures of fencing for City Hall, which is right across the street, as is our police station. We have had conversations with business owners. The state buildings are being boarded up, and some business owners are boarding up their buildings. They don't want the destruction. They don't want broken glass and doors and people getting in and the cost to have to repair that. So people are taking precautionary measures.
So I got to ask you, given what you have seen all too close to your home, given what you've seen at the state capitol, given what you've seen with the kidnapping threats against Gretchen Whitmer, what went through your head as you were watching the invasion of the U.S. Capitol?
Yeah, I was mortified. You never think something like that's going to happen. 213 years of peaceful transfer of power. When you see that kind of assault on democracy, it was stunning. And you do think about all of the members of Congress. Many of them are friends of mine, and I was texting them, "Hey, are you okay? Are you safe?" And Congressman Dan Kildee was hiding in the gallery, and it was shocking. It was something that you never expect. There's always people who are upset at the election of one party or the other, but I've never seen a mob try and take it over and attack our democracy. So it was shocking.
It's shocking and stunning, but on the other hand, given what you went through, maybe it is something that should have been anticipated. And there were groups who kept on promising that it would happen, more or less. It essentially did. Finally, last question. The carry laws, the idea of carrying weapons into the state capitol have changed. What impact do you think that'll have?
Honestly, a little bit of both. On the one hand, hopefully people will not come openly carrying, but on the other hand, it's going to instigate more people to come to raise their voice against it. We have many people who believe they should be able to openly carry, which they can under the law in Michigan, and now they just can't within the Capitol. We will make sure that is enforced. The state police in the Capitol will make sure it's enforced. But again, that's another thing that we're looking at as an instigator. I think it was the right move. I think it should have been done years ago, and I've always been supportive of that. But it's a new factor in when people come downtown Sunday through Wednesday.
Mayor Andy Shore, we appreciate you being with us. We wish you the best of luck in the coming days. You and your family, please stay safe.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that.